This is a general audience program.
No. That was almost perfect all the way through. There's a great choke right there.
Hello everyone and welcome to our weekly challenge here at Speedrunners. You'll meet and see the fastest gamers in the world gather with one goal in mind: to beat world records. For those who don't know, speedrunning is about finishing video games but as fast as possible. A lot of the time using any means necessary. Take Super Mario Brothers for instance. You might think you're quite a pro, but after today's show, you might be on the hunt for a classic Nintendo system again to see if you have what it takes to beat the whole game in less than 5 minutes. Every week, we invite one of the best speedrunners to join our studio here in Copenhagen to teach us a little bit more about the discipline of racing against the clock. Of course, we also challenge them to set a new world record right here in the hotspot of Scandinavia. Today's guest is already quite a legend in the speedrunning community in Super Mario. It's Wes Oakes from Tennessee. Wes, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. You are so close to the world record. I think it's, what, 200 milliseconds?
It's just one frame away, which is 0.016 seconds.
Which is extremely close in a very tough community. Even though you are a superstar in speedrunning circles, our viewers might be happy to get a more in-depth introduction to this man himself.
My name is Wes. I'm 32 years old. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've been speedrunning for about 3 years now. The Mario game and Nintendo console that I have is all original from the 80s. It's one that I've had my whole life. I play on a front-loader NES right here. I have to use a CRT TV to speedrun. Many of the tricks in Mario require pixel-perfect and frame-perfect precision, so playing on an LCD would be extremely difficult to pull these off with consistency. I would say the most exciting moment of my speedrunning career is when I got the 8-3 flagpole glitch and was ahead of record going into the last level of the game. I think that might be it. That might be your record. It was the record, but it ended up being 1 frame slower than the record. When I saw that it was only 1 frame from the record, I was a little heartbroken. I can definitely get the world record. It'll happen soon. It's just a matter of time.
And he's here today to try and reach that elusive time of under 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Let's get it rolling.
All right, here we go.
So Wes, I mean, Super Mario Brothers is obviously your game. Did you play it as a child also? Because it's pretty old.
I did, yeah. I grew up playing Mario.
And it was released when? Back 1985?
In 1985.
And so how old were you then?
That's the year I was born.
Okay, so you weren't exactly playing it out of the womb, but at least you were playing it as a child.
Yeah, for sure. The Mario game and Nintendo console that I have is all original from the 80s. It's one that I've had my whole life. I've played it off and on, like, throughout my life, but never in a speedrunning way. That's when I first saw a speedrun of it. I was familiar with the game, and so it blew my mind to see the speedrun, and that's why I kind of wanted to try it out for myself.
When we come back, we find out if Wes Oakes can set that new world record in Super Mario Brothers. It's been called pioneering, influential, groundbreaking even for the time. And in 2005, it was even named the greatest game of all time. Today, we have Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers is a critically acclaimed Nintendo video game that some have called the greatest of all time. It was one of the first games to feature the now widely recognized character Mario and was bundled with the original Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985. And as a result, millions of people have played it. Super Mario Bros. Has become one of the more popular speedruns to watch in the past few years, largely because each speedrun is fairly short in length. It's incredible to watch when you realise that a new world record could be set on any run in just under 5 minutes. For a decade, players have accepted the challenge, each grinding down the record a little faster than the last.
My goal right now with Mario is to get the world record and a 4:56.5 time. The last few times I've done attempts, I've almost gotten the record multiple times. So it's just a matter of getting that one run where I don't choke and make a mistake.
Beating the record in Super Mario Bros. Is a pretty tough one, and so many people have tried and tested and not been able to achieve even close to what you have, Wes. And to get more into the game, there are a few expressions that we need to learn then. Talk me through frames, first of all.
Okay, so the game runs at 60 frames per second.
Okay, that's faster than I thought it would be running, to be honest.
Yeah, and then one interesting about this game is that you can only complete a level every 21 frames. And a good analogy that Darby uses to describe this is imagine that there's a bus at the end of each level that takes you to the next level. If you miss the bus, you're going to have to wait 21 frames for the next bus.
And as an English person, I know what it feels to wait for a bus. You don't want to be waiting for that next bus. Speaking of technical details, we've got a very interesting one coming up, the flagpole glitch. Let's take a look.
Okay, so I got the flagpole glitch, but I lost time because I played the underground not optimally.
The flagpole glitch gained notoriety near the end of 2016. Before its discovery, it was believed it didn't matter where Mario jumped on the flagpole, as either way the flag would have to slide down from the top to the bottom. However, look at this comparison. If you jump to the top, Mario doesn't brush on the block at the bottom, moving quicker to the castle, thus saving a few frames and occasionally saving enough to gain another frame rule. What is a flagpole glitch?
So a flagpole glitch is a way to clip into the block below the flagpole, and it skips the flag animation from coming down. It requires a pixel-perfect setup, so you have to land on an exact pixel, and then you have to push B 1 frame later, and then 2 frames later press A. That will set up Mario's subpixels so that he's able to clip into the block below the flagpole. Then you have to press left for 4 frames and A to jump into the flagpole.
For years, the trick seemed impossible to pull off, but thanks to research by Mario speedrunner Mav6771, a setup was found out that was barely humanly possible. And in August of 2016, Darbian was able to pull it off and save a frame rule in the process. I mean, that is extremely complicated. I don't know if Luigi would figure that one out, but Mario certainly has got it down to a T.
It's a very difficult trick, and it only saves 21 frames, or 0.3 seconds. So a lot of it in the Mario speedrun is muscle memory. So I like to practice often just to keep my muscle memory there. So lately I've been averaging about 10 hours a week for practice and attempts.
Glitches such as the flagpole, bullet bill, wrong warps, and the pipe jump are extremely difficult to execute. And some require pixel and frame perfect accuracy. For perspective, there are 60 still frames displayed in rapid succession to make up 1 second of the game. Each frame contains nearly 60,000 pixels, so in one of these frames, there is 1 single pixel that Mario must hit to unlock these glitches. This doesn't just happen by luck.
I have a device called a power pack, which lets me do save states, so I can save the game at a certain point and then just keep replaying that segment over and over again. And that's pretty much required for a trick like flagpole glitch to build the muscle memory to do that. It's something that is interesting to me to keep perfecting a trick that is required for a world record.
And I think that's the key word there as well. World record. Anyone will do anything for a world record. When we return, Wes continues his hunt for the world record in Super Mario Bros. We've got all of the different worlds, and then, of course, the splits as well. Which of these worlds are really important when it comes to your run?
8-2 is very important. There's a big time save in 8-2 with the bullet bill glitch.
8-2 is one of the longest levels in the game, so naturally as the world record was being cut down, speedrunners looked here to find any way to save even just a few frames. The bullet bill glitch provided an impressive but unreliable time save.
You have to wait on a bullet to fire, and you jump in such a way that you land on the bullet right by the base of the flagpole, and Mario will trigger the end level animation.
A successful bullet bill glitch will skip both the flag animation and Mario walk into the castle, saving 2 frame rules. The problem was sometimes the bullet wouldn't fire at all, or would fire slowly.
It's too slow!
Speedrunner Blubber discovered that enemy patterns can be influenced by what frame rule you're on. So if you start the game at the same time every time, and play through the game on the exact same frame rule, you can control when bullet bill will fire. Blubber found a good frame rule to start on, avoided stomping Koopas in the level which would influence when bullet bill shoots, and implementing this glitch allowed Blubber to beat the previous record by 0.4 of a second. Sometimes he bites the bullet, would you say?
Yep, that happens sometimes.
And that's never good. All right, so that's 8-2 then. What about 8-4? Because I understand that can be a little bit of a tricky one as well.
8-4 is very tricky. There's some difficult tricks, and with it being the last level in the run, there's a lot of pressure, and lots of chokes happen in 8-4. So in this room in particular, you start off with a frame-perfect jump coming off of the pipe, and then there is a frame-perfect and pixel-perfect jump to perform the wall jump into the pipe.
Years back, many of these glitches that we're learning today weren't thought to be possible, and the world record was far from this good. Let's take a look at just how we're at a point from now to fight for milliseconds off a 5-minute run. Scott Kessler was the first notable speedrunner of this iconic game, setting his first world record in 2004 at 5 minutes 14 seconds. Then improving to 5 minutes 5 seconds, which was believed to be as perfect as possible. But a newcomer in the scene was determined to open new options. His name? Andrew G. And in total secrecy, he discovered a couple new wrong warps, which tricked the game to take you to the warp zone without waiting for this slow cutscene. Without revealing his tricks to anyone, Andrew continued to practice until October 2007, when he shaved 5 seconds off the world record. He continued to practice over the next few years, making small improvements until the first sub-5-minute record on Christmas Eve in 2010. Andrew achieved the impossible, making him a legend in the community. Since then, a few new runners have saved seconds and even milliseconds off the world record.
I think that might be it.
With Darbian holding the coveted #1 spot at 4 minutes, 56 seconds and 878 milliseconds. As the day goes by, Wes launches himself at one attempt after another. He's not looking for a respectable time. He's looking for a new world record in Super Mario Bros.
All right, new attempt.
Any mistake early on in the game forces him to quickly reset and start all over again. After a short break, we will hit that button, and maybe we'll be heading towards a new world record in Super Mario Bros. Stay tuned. This is Speedrunners, and joining me on my side is Wes Oakes, one of the best speedrunners in the world of Super Mario Bros. 4 minutes, 55 seconds. What does that mean to you?
4 minutes and 55 seconds. That would be the ultimate run.
The world record in Super Mario Bros. Very fast indeed. What would it mean to actually get a world record? Because you've never held one before, right?
That's right. I've never had a record, but I would love to get it.
That's my goal right now, is to get the record, so I'd be very excited.
Well, maybe we'll see if you can grab that world record today. Wes successfully finishes World 1-1, keeping pace with the world record time. Does it ever take you back to that kind of childhood feel when you play it?
It takes me back to my childhood. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to speedrun it, just because I have such good memories of the game.
And it's not even like it's kind of through like star-loved glasses or something like that. It's just one of those games you can come back to time and time again. It's certainly how I feel. Wes now heads to the warp zone to skip ahead to World 4. Let's take a look at just how we're at a point from now to fight for milliseconds off a 5-minute run.
Alright, so coming up in this level is the second flagpole glitch with the run. If I fail this, the run is over. Boom! Alright, we're good. It's a good run.
Wes hits another flag glitch, finishing World 4-1 still on record-setting pace. By this point, you were already on par with the world record. You were looking like you were at a decent point, so you were more than happy to move on with the rest of this run. After hitting another flag glitch and saving another 1/3 of a second, Wes makes his way to the drop glitch in World 4-2.
Alright, there's 3 really difficult pipe jumps in this level. First one's coming up right now. Alright, good. Here's the second one. Alright, got it. Hit these Koopas here to despawn that Goomba. It's a good star block, and third pipe jump is coming up. Got it.
First of all, like, when Mario's running across those gaps and you're just running in a straight line, not even jumping, you don't fall down the hole, how on earth do you manage that?
That's just how the game works.
What?
You just run right across it.
That's not fair. Mario should fall to a certain death. Like, that's crazy. Okay, so what's the most difficult point of that clip then?
Definitely the pipe jumps. It takes a long time to get used to doing the pipe jumps. That's a major run killer for new runners of the game, to be able to master those pipe jumps. And that's another point where I would just grind it out over and over again.
So it's one of those situations where you could be on a fantastic run, you get to pipe jumps, and then suddenly you're pressing that reset button once.
Yep, because you might jump a little bit early or a little bit late, and you only have a few frames to adjust.
And you talked about hitting the Koopa as well. Like, why is that important to this run?
So it's important, first of all, to do the second pipe jump so that the Koopas spawn in a certain way. And then you notice I bounce on the first and third Koopa on there. And what that does is it despawns a Goomba later to make a jump easier. If you don't despawn the Goomba, then you have to do another frame-perfect jump, which just makes the run way more difficult. So it's like you're doing a difficult trick to not do a more difficult trick.
Wes didn't hit the flag glitch in 8-3, but given this perfect run, he's still on world record-setting pace. We now enter World 8-4, notorious for multiple chokes as the last level in the game. Well, now we can't wait much longer to see the rest of your run. Your time is definitely still for a world record, and I'm, for one, very excited to see how you got on in the last parts of your run, which you actually pointed out were very difficult and very crucial. Another successful trick, and now with all glitches behind him, Wes just needs to finish a clean game to achieve a new world record.
There's a great choke right there. That was almost perfect all the way through.
So close, but just 1 second off from beating a world record, unfortunately choking at the very last jump. I think you did a great job today, Wes. You should be very proud of yourself. How much of a task was it that we actually set you to achieve a world record here today?
It's a very difficult run to do. I have thousands of attempts and only a handful of completed runs.
You are so close to the world record. I think it's, what, 200 milliseconds?
It's just one frame away, which is 0.016 seconds.
It's very difficult when you're in a studio setting as well, with the lights, the cameras in your face.
It's a lot more pressure.
It's been a pleasure, and sometimes chasing these kind of records, you're chasing milliseconds, and it's almost like chasing a world record in a 100-meter sprint, for example, and hopefully you'll get there someday. But our show is more of a marathon than a sprint, and we will keep on running through the best speedrunners in the world, so join us next time.